FM.
All right, welcome in. Our final 2 to 4 show is the new drug today. It's the last time we will be here in this time slot for this season. The Jaguar programming ends this week. We'll be back to our 4 to 6 slot, which we are on every other day on Thursdays as we move along.
No playoffs this year?
Well, I was asking you earlier.
Yeah.
If you thought what the percentage, ESPN's got the percentages.
Sure. We need to get Steve Kornacki in here.
I asked you what the percentages were. You told me the percentages were similar to the percentages of you becoming the Pope.
That's correct.
I think that was
it's dead
that's
even.
Right.
Both those numbers are the same.
I'm not paraphrasing.
Yes.
I think that is a quote from you.
It is.
So there's that.
I'm very pious, but not quite that pious.
You are very pious. Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon, the very pious Hays Carlyon. JJ LaSelva is here. Glad you guys are with us. JJ, did you have a good New Year's dinner? All good?
Oh, yeah. New Year's was great. I didn't watch any of the Penn State game.
Right.
But, yeah, yesterday I was enthralled by the first matchup. After the first 3 drives, you're like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
But I was very upset about the game yesterday afternoon. I did not see that coming. I mean, I wasn't shocked that Ohio State won, but the way they won was wild.
Yeah, I was shocked. I thought Ohio State would win the game. I never thought they would roll them. And
I was shocked.
Yeah, I mean, I know anybody that says they saw that coming probably isn't telling you the truth. I mean, nobody said, I expected them.
Ryan Day didn't see that coming.
Yeah, correct. I mean, so
only one man saw that coming, and it was Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, boy, is he good. My goodness, he
is.
What a good.
I mean, the hype that will surround him going into the 27 draft
and should,
assuming he stays healthy, will be remarkable.
Yeah. Especially now in the age of the
I mean, he's not going to go 1 because Lagway is going to go 1, but Jeremiah Smith has a great chance to go 2nd in that draft.
Of course he does.
Although Lagway could come back to Florida for 28.
Knowing how you feel, I thought you expected Lagway to go 1st and 2nd.
Lagway may sue the NFL to get into the league early. He'd have my vote.
So, but anyway, so interesting games. I do want to. The series.
You called Arizona State, by the way.
Yeah, I thought they'd hang around.
Boy, they are a good team.
Yeah, I thought they would. I really thought that would be a good game.
What a comeback!
I think they're pretty good. I think, and that's what I told you guys the other day. I think they're pretty good. I don't know that they. I didn't think they were going to win, but I thought that would be a fourth quarter game. Yeah,
I was pulling hard for them.
I was too. I was
really disappointed when Ewers hit the touchdown on 4th and 13.
Yeah, that was the play.
Oh yeah,
it was 4th and forget the targeting or non-targeting. It was 4th and 13, and the guy ran wide open.
They blitzed everybody, and none of them got even close.
Yeah. So
how about our boy Cam Scatterbo, though?
Yeah,
what
player.
A fun player.
Yeah, and he'll be a good pro. He'll be a very good pro.
I'll be anxious to see kind of what round he gets selected in, because he's going to be tempting. I mean, I agree with you. I don't think he's obviously going in, the first round, but I mean, a player like that, he is going to be awfully tempting to these teams. And boy, if he gets with the right coordinator and head coach,
that's right.
Oh, he could be a real weapon.
Yeah, no question about that. So certainly sad note and prayers to all affected by the tragedy in New Orleans. Just a terrible thing. Now 15 dead, many injured. And so I thought the Sugar Bowl did the right thing by postponing the game. You couldn't have played it last night. The game, as you probably know, will be played at 4:00 today. From a television standpoint, that got that right. That'll be at 4. The Gator Bowl will move from 7:30 to 8, so just a half an hour behind. And again, this is way more important than anything involving sports. But having said that, I would have hated for the Gator Bowl to have to go up against that game. And again, this isn't about sports; it's about everything that matters way more. But that would have been hard. It's going to be a tough go for the Gator Bowl anyway, trying to get as many fans as they can. So they got it right, and I don't think you could have played the game last night. I would not have been surprised if they postponed it more than one day. Now that would upset the planning and the timing, and I think this was the best solution. I really believe this, Hays. This was the best solution to not try and play last night, but also be respectful of the tens of thousands of people that traveled there from both sides to watch what we all expected to be the best game of this round. So you agree? I think given what they had to deal with on all fronts, moving it from last night at 8:45 to today at 4 was probably the best scenario.
I think so. And Georgia and Notre Dame voiced, that they would like it earlier.
Correct.
So that they could get, back home. And obviously the winner of this game is going to have a pretty quick turnaround to the semifinal. And, so I think it certainly makes a lot of sense. And Penn State's already done. So Penn State's actually going to have, they played before the triple header. They played on New Year's Eve.
So they have a two-day break.
Yeah, I can see why Georgia and Notre Dame would have said, can we play this as early as we can play it?
Yeah, so we'll certainly talk about that. We'll start the show today with thoughts on the playoffs. We'll prepare you for Georgia Notre Dame. Again, it starts the minute we get off the air now. That game is at 4 o'clock. And then, of course, the Gator Bowl later on tonight. You'll hear it on our radio station tonight. Touchdown Radio has the call. J.P. Shadrick on play-by-play and Gino Torretta will be on color, and you'll enjoy it. It'll be a very good broadcast. That comes up tonight.
Be a fun game to go to.
It will be.
If you're looking to do something with the kids,
fun game to go. It really will.
A lot of NFL talent on the field tonight.
No question. So I hope people will consider going to that game. I totally agree with you, Hays. I hope that happens. All kind of stuff going on today. College basketball season starts for both UNF and JU today in the conference. UNF playing as we speak. They had a 2 o'clock tip. We'll update you on that score as we go today. JU tonight at 7 o'clock, both playing conference games. So that happens today as well. Florida, Kentucky. I think they're playing at 8 a.m. I think is what the start on.
Boy, is that an early start?
Yeah, they start. They actually play at 11. In Lexington on Saturday.
Do they still do like game day for college basketball on ESPN? Because it's funny. I would assume that show ends at noon.
They probably start it later in the season.
That's what I think too. That's what I think.
Because they're still doing football game day.
I think that's probably. My guess would be what JJ said.
Yeah.
College basketball game day will start after football's over.
That makes sense.
So, but anyway, but again, it all starts this weekend. We'll certainly get to that today and tomorrow on the program. Jags and Colts. My thought about Jags and Colts. The state of each franchise, the significance or importance of the game, like I thought about this. The game is really important for Mac Jones. Mac Jones is on a 1-year deal. Mac Jones wants to continue playing, which he'll be able to continue playing. I mean, Mac Jones will be able to continue to play in the league. I don't think there's any question about that. But it's a really important game for him. I mean, this is a guy that would love to be a backup in the league. Wouldn't mind another shot at starting. I don't know that I see that now. But I do think he's certainly a viable backup. Hopefully here, I think that's what he would like. But if not, certainly somewhere.
Yeah, I would think for Mac a good place to be would be maybe the New York Giants or the Las Vegas Raiders, two teams that could certainly go quarterback, and maybe be the guy that can kind of start the season and get to the opportunity to put some more film out there before Sanders or Ward are ready. Because I'll be interested in seeing if those two guys can play week one. But regardless of that, that would be a situation, I think, for Mac Jones. Can you try to angle yourself to be in a competition with Sanders or Ward, which obviously you're going to lose, but hopefully you lose it in week 7. So you've at least had 6 games to kind of, again, show people what you're able to do. And look, maybe you get hot. Maybe you have this amazing chemistry with the weapons around you, and you hold the rookie off a little longer than maybe people think. But I would think a job like that. I don't think is as much quarterback need as there will be at the starting position. I don't think he's going to be one of the 32, but I do think he's probably going to have 4 or 5 really good offers and good situations as a free agent to go, be a backup. But a backup that the franchise could envision having to play, whether that's because they have a young quarterback or maybe they've got an injury-prone starting quarterback, something like that. And look, I don't think you can discount that he might come back here. I mean, the Jaguars are still going to need a backup quarterback. I don't sense that there's a lot of confidence in C.J. Beathard having to actually play significant games if Trevor Lawrence got hurt in 25. So maybe it's here. But I would agree with you. I think he's probably somewhere between in that top 45 group.
The Pro Bowl rosters are out. Congratulations to Russ Matisic, the deep snapper, and Logan Cook, the punter, here for making the Pro Bowl. 3 alternates are Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker, and Brian Thomas Jr. I understand there's a seniority thing, I suppose, and there's a notoriety thing, I suppose, and I get that. And I'm being a homer because that's kind of who I am. I tend to be a homer. And I think Jamar Chase and Jerry Jeudy and Nico Collins and Zay Flowers are all good players. They're all 4 are good players. And I'm sure the 4 in the NFC are good players too. I don't believe there's 8 wide receivers in the NFL better players than Brian Thomas Jr. That's my opinion. I don't believe there's 8 that are better players. And look, Brian Thomas didn't really become a focal point until later in the year, and his numbers probably reflect that. And I just don't believe it. I don't believe in my heart there are 8 receivers in the NFL that are better players. Agree or disagree? You're allowed to disagree.
I certainly think that his season, is he one of the best 8 receivers in the NFL? It's too early for me to say that. But his season certainly would have been deserving of it. I mean, when you're 5th in the NFL in receiving yards and tied for 5th in receiving touchdowns, stands to reason that, certainly you've got a great case for the Pro Bowl. But obviously he's going to be hurt by the same things that, have hurt guys here in the past.
Forever, really.
No one watches the Jaguars outside of Jacksonville. Yeah. No one.
That's right.
And so, because they're terrible. The Jaguars have to be good for anyone around the nation to pay attention. They opened 0-4. They were probably the first team kind of kicked out of the club of contention for this year with the 0-4 start. And so I just think when that happens, people aren't going to really pay much attention. And, Zay Flowers, yes, his numbers aren't as strong, but he plays for a very good team. Jerry Jeudy, that's obviously Cleveland's had a bad year too. But Jeudy has, to your point, been in the league for several years, so people are a little bit more familiar with him. Again, this is why the Pro Bowl argument should never be held against Fred Taylor and his pursuit of Canton, because it's such an imperfect way of doing things to use it as a barometer for the greatness of a player. But so, yeah, I mean, stats wise, certainly Brian Thomas Jr. has a case, it's first off, he's going to be in anyway, because one of these guys is going to pull out, and he's a first alternate. So he's going to be a Pro Bowler. But I didn't think it was, the greatest snub of all time.
And I'm not ranting and raving and screaming and starting a picket line. I'm just telling you that, in my opinion,
this will be probably the last year, if he's healthy,
that he has to be an alternate.
That he has to worry about it.
Yeah, but that's just my opinion. I just don't. And again, everything you said is true. Small market, struggling team, blah, 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 blah. But I really think the guys that good a player. Hopefully they all get in. Hopefully all 3 guys get a chance to play. So we'll see. Big week, by the way, I think. Trayvon Walker's got 9.5 sacks. 10 matter. Sure. Double digits matter. If you go back-to-back years with double-digit sacks, Josh Hines-Allen has 8. He'd need 2 sacks. Trayvon just needs a half sack. But, I think that's a number that matters.
It's almost, I would say the comp is, it's almost like if you have 29 passing touchdowns, but another guy has 30.
Yeah.
It pops more.
Yeah.
Even though it's only one more.
That's right.
But I would say the same thing for sacks. When you see a 1 in front of that number, it's a really good year for an edge rusher. So yeah, hopefully Trayvon gets it. I think he's got a great chance to. Richardson didn't practice today. It really doesn't matter either way, because if Richardson's active, he might run himself into a sack, or just not get rid of the ball.
Sounds like Flacco's playing.
But it's probably Flacco who obviously can't move. So, it's easier to kind of pick that target and know that the quarterback's going to be in that target as the pass rusher.
So we got a lot to talk about today on the program. Glad you're with us. Stanley Pools Thursday. Thanks to my friends at Stanley Pools, the best pool builder in Jacksonville. They've been doing it since 1988. When we come back, we'll talk some college football playoffs. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
One of the keys to victories is to know your opponent well.
Best thing I can do is point you in the direction of his competition.
Get insights and interviews from Jags beat reporter Hays Carlyon when he takes you behind enemy lines. Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Josie for Hard Rock Bet, and now's the time to soak up the season before it slips away. Plenty of action at hardrock.bet. Playoff football, college and pro. We're talking point spreads, totals, parlays, and props. It's all there and super easy at hardrock.bet. TDs, total points, who'll win. Don't want to bet a ton of money? Try a parlay. Combine your bets for a bigger payout. Download the Hard Rock Bet app. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
How many schools are there in the Big 12, the Big 10, the SEC, and the Pac-12?
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours, Southern Oak Insurance.
There are 16 teams in the Big 12. 18 in the Big 10, 16 in the SEC, but only 2 teams remain in the Pac-12. Kick off the new year with a new look for your home. It's the Renewal by Andersen New Year's sales event. For a limited time, save 20% on their energy-efficient windows and patio doors, designed to keep your home comfortable all year. Plus 0 down, no payments, and 0% interest for 12 months. Offer expires January 31st. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
To catch more fish, you gotta think like a fish. Captain Kevin and the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show. Reeled in by the Pest Pros at Royal Pest Services. And awaken 180 weight loss.
Thursday nights at 6.
On 1010XL AM.
Mia here for Dreamfinders Homes. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now is your chance to lock down the rate and get in the game. You heard me right, a 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershome.com for more details.
Make a resolution this new year to send all of your friends or family a Kuhn Flowers floral arrangement. RJ Saunders here with 1010XL, and okay, how about sending just one person you love a floral arrangement? Kuhn Flowers can handle it.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but also incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 800-293-3744. Hey, and if you mention Mia or Helmets and Heels, you'll qualify for free base molding. Call today or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Hey, Hicken here with a message from Zero Res. Guess what? We love rugs. We'll treat your fine Oriental rugs with tender, loving care they deserve. How about Gerard, the Zero Res rug cleaning manager, one of the few certified master rug cleaners in the state of Florida? If you want your rugs cleaned with tender, loving care, call Zero Res. Right now, have one rug washed and we'll wash a second rug free. That's right, buy one, the second one on me. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
This is Walker Little of your Jacksonville Jaguars for Kingfish Pest Control. I've been a Kingfish customer for a while now and can confirm that their service is incredible. Not only do they protect my family from pests, Kingfish's office staff is the friendliest around. They even email me a photo of the tech before arriving at my home. Kingfish Pest Control is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Be sure to enter their Swat That Kick sweepstakes for free pest control for 3 years. Go to kingfishpest.com and tell them Walker Little sent you.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Taking to Judkins again, and there is Smith roaming free, breaks a tackle. Ohio State strikes quickly from 45 yards. See if they take a shot here. Howard looking to launch right down the middle. Smith is wide open, too easy.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
All right, Chris Fowler on the call. What a blowout. Ohio State laid it to Oregon. That one, I thought Ohio State would win. Nobody saw that kind of a blowout coming. The game of the day was Texas-Arizona State. It went to overtime. So here's my take on the targeting, because that's what all anyone wants to talk about. And you guys may disagree, but here's my take. It probably was targeting by the definition of the rule. Barely. The play earlier in the game when the Arizona State guy picked it off and then the safety collided with the receiver was probably almost targeting, but probably not quite targeting by the definition of the rule. I'm glad neither got called. I was rooting for Arizona State, so I was bummed at the moment when they didn't call the one that was probably targeting. But the explanation that it was kind of face mask to face mask, not the crown of the helmet, I thought there was some merit to that. Now, if I'm an Arizona State fan, I'm screaming from the mountaintops. I mean, because it's your one time to get in there. That's a targeting that it probably was targeting and would be called any other time. But if I'm being honest, I think most games I've watched this year, both would have been called. I think the targeting would have been called after the Arizona State interception that would have nullified the interception. And I think targeting would have been called on that play. So in my opinion, targeting would have been called on both plays if it was a game on October 12th. I think they'd have called both of them. No one's talking about the first one because they probably got it right if you went back and looked at it. He ducked his head a little bit. It was more shoulder to head contact. The second one was head to head, but it was face mask to face mask. So I thought there were gray areas. I thought they should have called the second one. That one probably was targeting. Don't know that means Arizona State would have won the game, but I understand the angst. What I will tell you is it was a fantastic, fantastic game, but I can't believe Arizona State blew the coverage on the 4th and 13. I thought that's when they lost the game. I felt for the Texas kicker. My goodness, he's a good kicker that missing the 38-yarder that he just pulled off the upright.
And he wasn't good against Georgia.
No, he wasn't. But I will tell you that was what a fantastic, fantastic game. And I think the playoff, and I'll continue to tell you why, has been an overwhelming success, despite the fact there haven't been very many good games. There's only been one good game, but I love where we're headed with it. But the targeting probably should have been targeting. It's hard to argue, but it doesn't bother me that they didn't call it because I thought both targetings that weren't called were pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even really like the rule. To me, it's one of those things that, like, I saw targeting get called this year when a player hit another player in the butt.
Right. That we still talk about that. And
so obviously
Bridges.
This was targeting, if that is, but again, they won't do this, and I understand it because of the way the world is now, but to me, it's a penalty that needs to be de-escalated in terms of if something is egregious, then it needs to be called. But too often, to me, targeting is there's really not a lot the defender can do, so it's not malicious. And the penalty is so extreme because it's not just obviously it's 15 yards and a first down, but it also comes with a potential first half suspension if your targeting occurred in the second half.
Which we had yesterday, with that Arizona State player who was awesome.
Who
in the
was
second
fantastic.
Half.
Exactly. So you don't think he'd have made a difference in the first half? So that's kind of another issue on the topic. But yeah, I mean, it should have been called. But again, to me, it just speaks to a larger. Okay, it feels like we've kind of gotten a handle on the protecting the players head injury wise. I think now targeting could be scaled back a bit. The message has gotten through. You have a generation of defensive backs and linebackers that have now played in this environment. So you really don't see a lot of it. And if it's malicious, it should be called. But if it's a guy making a tackle, which I think 60% of the time is what it is, I have a problem with with how penal the violation is in terms of how it's legislated.
Yeah, I do too. And so anyway, so Texas wins the game. There's 5 teams standing right now. The blood could not be bluer. I mean, it is Ohio State and Penn State and Texas and Notre Dame and Georgia. That's the 5. As we sit here today, the 5 standing are the Blue Bloods. And I get it. But I love that we've had this play out. I wish there's more close games, but there's not going to be a lot of close games early. There's not a lot of close games early in the NCAA basketball tournament. The 9-8 game is close. The 10-7 game is close. But you know good and well the first week of the NCAA basketball tournament, more times than not, Duke or Kentucky are going to beat Ohio 94-51. I can tell you in the FCS playoffs, I don't know any of the teams, but I'll bet North Dakota State beats Amherst 51-10. If both of those are right, if I'm getting the right teams, right, in North Dakota State, the great team.
They are. They're the dynasty.
Aren't they beating Amherst 51-3 in the first round, probably?
So North Dakota State beat Abilene Christian in the first round this year, 51-31.
Okay,
So
and
the number 1 team won their game 49-17.
Yeah, so that's what.
And it really wasn't that close.
So we know it's going to be. There's not going to be close games early on, or there's a potential that there's not going to be close games early on. Well, that's just kind of how it is. But I love the fact that these teams stayed alive all year long. I love the energy we're getting from it. I'm sad about what happened, way more important than football, the tragic terrorism that took place in New Orleans last night. But that notwithstanding, the energy from what that day was becoming, the game the night before, blowout. The first game, fantastic game. The second game, even though it was a blowout, everybody was paying attention because it was Ohio State, Oregon. And then last night you were going to have, and what you'll have today, the best game of the group. So I love the energy that's coming from this thing. My belief is this. My belief is by next year you won't have the seeds the way they are. By next year I think they'll seed the power teams. And by the way, you made a good point last week. It's got to be unanimous. So why would the group of 5 team vote for that? And which is a fair point. Why would any of the group of 5? Well, if they don't, it will show up in the rankings. It'll show up in the undefeated Boise will be ranked 24th rather than 8th or whatever. So whether they vote for it or not, you're not going to see that again. And then it'll still come down to whether it's the ACC or the Big 12 probably in that 4th spot, and maybe not, but you get the point. So having said all that, I think they'll tweak it a little. I do think they'll add teams at some point, but I love the energy that is created, not just now, but the energy it created in November when we weren't sure who was going to get in. Far more teams in these conversations. I love where we are with it. There's a reason everybody else has a tournament, and I feel even though the games have been lousy, other than Texas, Arizona State, I feel better than ever about the fact that we have a tournament in big-time college football.
Oh, I think the 12-team playoff has been remarkable. I think the committee kind of was dealt just a bad hand in terms of how the regular season went. But I mean, yeah, and looking at how it's going to wrap up, I mean, it's going to be fascinating football. And again, what I like about the playoff, and I'll just take Florida as an example, but there's other schools that would fall into this. Like Florida, if it was the old system, you would think, well, Florida's still definitely at least a year away from competing to get into the Final Four. But to get into the 12? Like you kind of feel like Florida, I mean, it's a lofty goal. I mean, they just lost 5 games, but it's at least something that I think you can look at as a potential goal for Florida to get to. And there's a lot of schools like that are in that area of, trying to build back to being good. And it gives you a little bit more of a bridge in terms of playing meaningful football. Without the playoff, it'd be like, well, you hope you can get to a New Year's Six Bowl. Well, a New Year's Six Bowl compared to the playoff, it's not even in the same stratosphere in terms of meaning. So I think it's great. It's kept way more fan bases engaged, and it will be cool whenever we see the first playoff upset because the favorites have been so dominant in this round. But that won't always be the case. Eventually there'll be a year where you get a couple of curveballs, and that'll be a lot of fun too.
And by tonight at 9:00 or 8:00, we'll know that the Final Four is Penn State, Ohio State, Texas, and either Notre Dame or Georgia. That's blue bloods, man. That'll what it's next Thursday and Friday. Is that the game?
That's correct.
Yes, the 9th.
Yeah, I think it's next Thursday. I think one's next Thursday, one's next Friday.
That's right.
So the week leading up to the Final Four, I know you have to do it for TV purposes. Man, I'd have been tempted to go 6 and 9 on the same night. I know they're doing them both. One's 7:30 Thursday, one's 7:30 Friday. But I'd have been tempted, man, to have a 6 o'clock start and a 9 o'clock start on the same night.
If it's Saturday, they probably would have.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're right, because Saturday would make more sense to have an late afternoon start. But that's when it would have a real Final Four feel to me, is if they were both playing. They can't both play in the same field because they'll tear up the field. But as far as to really make it feel like the basketball Final Four if they were playing on the same night. But it's one night apart, so I love what they've done. One other thought about that.
And it is interesting because the Georgia-Notre Dame winner is in that first game. Yeah. They're in the Thursday game.
Right.
And Penn State already was getting an extra day's rest.
Right,
correct.
That's right.
And so the Friday game is locked in, obviously, Ohio State, Texas.
Yeah.
So, again, the winner of Georgia-Notre Dame, they're going to have a week, which is what they're used to having.
You still get your week.
You still have a week, but Penn State will have a couple additional days.
The one other thought about college football. One other important thought, I think. What a freaking job Kenny Dillingham did. I mean, almost beat Texas. Who knows how many, if they'd have won, they might have won again, played them, and they couldn't block them. If you watch that game, Arizona State never blocked them. They never blocked them and still almost won the game. And had a bunch of yards from that running back who's Scatterbo, who's so good.
And the quarterback was mobile.
Sam Levitt
contributed like 60 yards on the ground.
But think about this for a second. How many really good players has Arizona State lost in the portal in recent years? Let me give you a couple. Maybe the best quarterback to come around in the last 10 years is Jaden Daniels.
Right.
Receivers we know about, just because we're around here, Johnny Wilson, Ricky Pearsall, Elijah Badger, we're all really good players, all NFL players. So, and how many have they lost that we just don't know about because we don't follow the guy that landed at Michigan or Texas A&M or Cal or Oregon? Just the ones we know about. To lose players he lost Jaden Daniels.
And also their leading receiver this season was sidelined yesterday.
And they didn't have that guy. He was hurt. What a coach this guy must be.
Yeah.
I mean,
they had 29 first downs against the Longhorns.
Without blocking them.
Yeah. I mean, Texas is loaded with blue chip NFL
that quarterback was scrambling for his life the whole game, and they had 29 first downs. This guy, when you start talking about the really good coaches, that guy's got in terms of college, he's got to soar to near the front of the list.
I think without a doubt, and he got a nice extension from his alma mater. So, but we'll see. I mean, if you get these big jobs that'll come up. The carousel was quiet this year in college, but all that tells you is next year it will be on.
Right.
I mean, there will be some big time programs looking to move on. And Dillingham, I think, is going to be very high on everybody's list. And then it's a question of, can you lure him away from his alma mater, who just gave him an extension? Apparently that extension includes more of a financial commitment to football, which you have to assume is NIL and bigger money for his coordinators and staff. But if you're Dillingham, do you stay? I kind of think he does.
He might, yeah.
But I think he's going to be one of these guys that every offseason, I'm assuming Jimmy Sexton's his agent. But
that's knows? The law,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's going to be a guy that every year is going to get Arizona State's going to have to keep bumping him.
Well,
if this continues.
Well,
but I do think you can win a national title at Arizona State.
I do too. Well, look, he was he was maybe a targeting call away from being in the Final Four this year.
Right.
So, but I will tell you, he's getting the call from Ohio State and Alabama. I mean, that he's getting the call from Texas or whoever.
Florida State.
Yeah, he's
Florida.
He's getting the call, right? But Florida State and Florida are nice, solid blue bloods. Tennessee's a good blue blood. Georgia's a good blue blood. But Alabama and Ohio State are Alabama and Ohio State.
Yeah.
And he's getting that call. Well, when Alabama and Ohio State and Texas, whenever their job comes available, I'm not saying those coaches are getting fired, but USC, he's getting that. That's the real blue bloods. And he's getting that call, and so it'll be. You're right. I kind of have the hunch he stays too. It's funny you said that. There's something about him that he's at his alma mater.
Well, you're so young,
and you're in
young.
a great place.
Yeah, how old is he? How old is he?
40?
I'm gonna look it up. He looks at like 19.
Right,
by the way.
he does. He looks like he should be on like Happy
He's
Days.
34. He's my age.
He's 34 years old.
Yeah.
But I mean,
he's younger than me by a month.
What a good coach. And I'm just telling you, the job he did might be as good a job as I've seen anyone do in a long time.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, Jaden Daniels and Pearsall and Badger and they all left.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter.
Dude, in that game yesterday, they could have given up after those first two drives and nobody would have blamed. Like,
100%.
Honestly, after they gave up that punt return touchdown, they get the ball back, they did nothing. It was like a 3-and-out, and the players coming back on the sideline looked out of it, heads down. They were pissed. They were throwing stuff. And he ran right up to the quarterback, Dillingham did, and was like getting him back into the game. And they could have just gotten killed at that point. Everyone on Twitter was like, this is over. You know, like they can't match the speed. They're not blocking them. And next thing you know, they're in double overtime.
They outgained him on the ground, 214-53.
Yeah. How about
you
think about that.
Rushed the Texas Longhorns, 214-53.
And JJ made a great point. If they'd have flattened out after early part of the game, you'd have said, you know what, they had a great year. But they didn't.
Yeah, it was cool seeing Jake the Snake on the sideline.
Yeah, he was fired up. Oh, he was fired up.
Yeah.
He was fired up. Great stuff. By the way, he's near and dear to our heart.
Absolutely.
For people
tonight's the anniversary.
Yeah,
by the way,
people that everyone they kept talking about his great play in the Fiesta Bowl and how it affected them in Ohio State. I'm saying that's not the only folks it affected. It was the I would think it's safe to say FSU fans hate him.
Yes.
And Gator fans love it.
Yeah, God smiled on the Gators, but so did Jake Plummer.
Yes,
he smiled on the Gators as well.
We'll take a break. Let's talk Jaguar football after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
It's holiday season and Nimnik Buick GMC is here for you. Whether you're making memories on the road or continuing family traditions right here in Jacksonville, you can always count on us because there's nobody but Nimnik. Now look, if you're looking for a better used car shopping experience, you'll find it at Nimnik Buick GMC, Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified dealership. And with Car Bravo at Nimnik, you'll get transparent pricing, the best value for your trade, and peace of mind. Now is the time to shop certified used vehicles and buy with confidence. What kind of models you're getting? Honda, Toyota, Kia, Mazda, Ford. That's right. All makes, all models. And trading in your old vehicle? Don't forget who gives you top dollar for your trade. Nobody but Nimnik. So shop online at nimnikbuickgmc.com or visit their showroom off Phillips Highway. It's holiday season and there's never a better time to buy from Nimnik. Who takes care of you? Nobody but Nimnik.
Mia here for MyBookie. You have 6 huge college bowl games prior to the weekend and then more NFL bangers Saturday and Sunday. Let's talk motivation as the Browns travel to play the Ravens Saturday. Baltimore favored by 17.5. The Birds win the AFC North with a win, but a loss, and the Steelers win against Cincinnati would drop the Ravens to the 5 or the 6 seed. Baltimore should go all out against Cleveland, and it's parlay time. The spread is huge but doable, as is the over on the 42-point game total. Book it. Sunday Night Football, this game will determine who wins the NFC North and the 1 seed in the conference standings, as the Vikings are 2.5-point dogs at Detroit. Both teams will be going all out. The Lions may have a bit of a hangover after a tough win on Monday night. I'd take the Vikings and the points. Sign up now at MyBookie and still get a 50% deposit bonus. That's half your money back on your first deposit up to $1,000. Promo code 1010XL. Make yourself some cash with MyBookie.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations,
Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks, and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Hairforme.com.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. And Greg, when you start to shift from warmer weather into some cooler weather, you can get on the road. What has Honda got to offer?
Honda's got a bunch of great bikes. They've got the new e-clutch technology, which means you can ride without using your clutch.
And I love the fact you can go automatic on a bike, which was unheard of for a while.
It was for a long time, and Honda has mastered it.
You can log on cyclesofjacksonville.com, see all they have to offer, or drop by the showroom. They're on Atlantic near Regency. That's Cycles of Jacksonville.
We could call them helmets and cleats, but they don't wear cleats.
Those shoes are hot.
Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
From the First Coast Lighting Studios at 1010XL.
Weekdays noon to 2.
You think you could join us?
If you're looking for the best in indoor air quality, I've got the experts to call. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jaguars, specializing in the best air quality for your home or work with the Remy Halo. Instead of waiting for pollutants to travel through the ductwork to be neutralized, the Halo cell releases friendly oxidizers every time your fan blows air, helping those in your home that suffer from allergies and other respiratory issues. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and start enjoying cool comfort and clean air.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick. Soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors.
Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max.
Sportsforecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web. Precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At sportsforecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. Sportsforecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Wide receivers out of LSU have completely taken over the league this season, as Jamar Chase is leading the Triple Crown hunt, Justin Jefferson is having an amazing year, and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. are the top dogs of the rookie class. Brian Thomas Jr. spoke about how the LSU boys are cut from a different cloth and are so dominant in the NFL.
A lot of us are just raised differently. We built different. Coming from where we come from, I feel like we just got that mentality to just go out there and be the best, and try to be the best regardless who in front of you. Even we push each other really. Just seeing how good they're doing, I know it's pushing me just to be better, do better, and be better.
I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
Cherry Bomb, number one for me on my Mellencamp list. I know Authority Song's one for you.
Yes,
right,
but I love them. Love pretty much all of them.
Cherry Bomb, that's in my Mellencamp power ratings. Cherry Bomb's first. JJ, what's your favorite Mellencamp song?
Oh my gosh, this is an artist that I don't really know anything besides the hits.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But he's got a lot of hits. So
yeah,
I mean,
he
that's
has
the
a ton.
thing. Like Pink Houses.
Pink Houses, I think, would probably be my favorite.
Jack and Diane.
They're all great songs.
Hurt So Good.
Yeah, they're all good. You can go all day.
Yeah.
R-O-C-K.
I don't know the one that Hayes was just referring to.
You probably know it. He doesn't say Authority Song in the song.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so if you heard it, you'd probably be like, oh, yeah, I've heard that.
Right. UNF has started its basketball season. UNF's good now. I'm telling you, they have a very good team. We saw them when they took down two Power Fours. Both they won on the road at Georgia Tech and South Carolina, and they have started their conference season, and they are blowing out Austin Peay in the first round. It was 42-26, and then Austin Peay just threw up a prayer, banked in a three, making it 42-29. But UNF all over Austin Peay, 42-29 now, and Austin Peay just hit another three, so 42-32. But they're playing very well against Austin Peay, closing minutes of the first half, and we'll continue to update you again. I'm assuming they play the game at 2 o'clock, not to conflict with the Gator Bowl would be my, I guess. JU does play tonight at 7 o'clock against Lipscomb, the team that has picked to win the A-Sun. So UNF and JU both starting their seasons at home. UNF, again, 44-32 now. Over Austin Peay with 1:30 to play in the half. We'll update you on that as we continue to move along. Interesting game with the Jaguars because, again, the storyline is who comes back really for both franchises. I mean, is Ballard gone, Chris Ballard gone after all these years? I'm not saying he's been the GM a long time for the Colts, but he signed Johnny Unitas, I think, was his first big signature, first signing. But he's been there a long time, 8-9 years, seriously?
Yeah.
Yes, 8-9 years.
Chris Ballard got there just in time for Andrew Luck to retire.
Right, yeah. So, but Ballard's been there a long time. Steichen only his second year. Our friend Gus Bradley has been there a while. Is he in trouble after the big performance by the Giants last week, or certainly all the Giants points? So they have some, and obviously everyone around here we're disingenuous if we don't point out the fact that they're all talking about on Monday, will Trent Baalke return as the general manager? Will Doug Peterson return as the head coach? If Doug does return, do the coordinators return? So there's a lot of conversation about how. So I almost think we're at a point with these two franchises, others too, that's almost as much of a conversation, Hayes, as the football game. I think we're at that stretch, aren't we? That's kind of where we are with these teams, and certainly with these two franchises. And what matters most to us, of course, is this franchise.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, again, it's if the Jaguars win, it's great that you won a couple of division games to close it out. You got a 4-2 division record, which is the best this franchise has ever done, which is hard to believe, but they've never gone 5-1 or 6-0 in the AFC South. So, I mean, there's some positive things there. The flip side of it is if you lose, obviously you're probably guaranteeing a top 5 pick. So you would like to think that's an elite player coming. The odds of it may be a little bit higher than if you win and fall to the 9th or 10th slot, depending on the other results. But it doesn't appear like the teams that are in the top 10 mix, very many of them have even close to what I would say is a winnable game. So I would think if the Jaguars win, they're going to be more in that 8, 9, 10 range. If they lose, then they'll kind of protect where they are, probably 4 or 5. So that's something to kind of keep an eye on. I don't think for the Colts it really matters. They're far enough. They've won enough that they'll just be picking somewhere in the teens. And I think again, if both jobs open, then you compare, like, obviously it's the same division, which is putrid. So either place can sell, hey, we can win it next year. We're close. The Colts have some young talent, but I think it's going to be harder for Indianapolis Because my bet is most coaches will not be comfortable with their career being in Anthony Richardson's hands.
So very good point.
Whereas I think more coaches, not all, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is 100% approval, but I think his is much higher, where a coach would say, yes, I can win games with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, dead on. 100% what you said. So as far as it relates to Jacksonville, here are the real realities. Shad Khan, to his credit, and I applaud him for this, and I mean that very sincerely, has not been one of these owners going around talking to everybody, so you try and read between the lines of what he said. He's kept to himself on all of it, Hays, and I think that's very, very wise. So here are the possibilities. Number one, nothing changes. He brings back Trent Baalke, he brings back Doug Peterson, and then Doug decides how many coaches to bring back. Don't think for a minute that's not in play, because it is. The other possibility is he fires his general manager, he fires his coach. It's a clean sweep, and they try to rebuild the football part of the building. That's a real possibility. Don't think for a minute that's not. Also, one comes and one goes is a possibility. That might surprise me a little bit more. I would be surprised if Trent Baalke stays. That's my opinion. I would be a little bit, and I'm not knocking Trent. I'm just saying because it has been a while, because there has been, and Shad isn't going to fire someone or not fire someone because of the public outcry. So, but that would surprise me a little bit, and good for Trent if it happens that way. But that would surprise. None of the other scenarios would surprise me. None of the other ones would. As far as Doug Peterson goes, there's two ways to look at that. I get the excitement about a Ben Johnson. I get that, and you don't know if he's going to want to be your coach, but I understand. It's naive to suggest why people wouldn't be excited about the offensive coordinator for Detroit winding up here. Detroit has been a dead franchise for many years. Dan Campbell has rebuilt that, and certainly Ben Johnson has had a lot to do with the offense. I also understand keeping Doug Peterson. I'll say this. I've said this before. Be careful about firing good coaches. It's hard to find. Everybody knows he's a good head football coach. You don't fall into a Super Bowl, particularly when you're going against Brady and Belichick. By the way, you know what you have to do to win a Super Bowl? You got to get to the Super Bowl. And so he and again, if I'm Doug's agent, I'm saying if they win Sunday, that's 3 straight 4-2 seasons. I'm 5-1 against the Tennessee Titans. Who in the world's ever been 5-1 against the Titans around here? And so be careful. The Tennessee Titans, hey, speaking of the Titans, just fired a good football coach and hired an offensive coordinator, and that didn't work out so well. Now, in fairness to him and to Callahan, it's only been 1 year. So I think everything's on the table. I think it is. And I think, I do think this. I think by Monday, if not before, we'll have every answer. What's most important for us who follow the team is I think you'll have every answer. I've said what I told you. My opinion is, I would like to see Doug Peterson get one more chance here. I know I might be in the minority based on who's hearing that, and I respect all opinions. By the way, it doesn't mean I'm right, doesn't mean I'm wrong, but I think it's hard to find good football coaches. I really is. I remember, and by the way, honesty compels me. The last time you fired a really good football coach around here was Tom Coughlin. And Tom Coughlin shouldn't have been fired. He was here 8 years. I was on the radio, and I was among those who said it's time for a change. I'd like to tell you that I didn't. I'd like to tell you, oh, no, I could have told you we shouldn't have fired Coughlin, but I didn't. I said it was time for a change. As much as I like Tom, I thought 8 years was a long time. Back then, you got 8 years. Del Rio got 8 years, too, because back then you didn't fire coaches as quickly. But I remember thinking sometimes it's time for a change. Well, Tom Coughlin won, how many playoff games did 4 or 5? How many playoff games did he win here? We know two.
Check,
we know 2 in '96, 1 in '97, 1 in '99. 4 was it 4 playoff games? Give or take. He won 4 or 5 playoff games here. All right, somewhere thereabouts. I want to say they fired him and they won 1 in the next 15 years, something like that. Right? It's so be careful when you fire a very good football coach.
4-4.
Yeah. So he won 4 playoff games. So be careful when you fire a good football coach. But I understand the excitement about who could come and whatnot. So I would like to see Doug get another year. That's my take. But I also understand you made the point the other day, Hays, very respectfully. You said, Frank, I respect that, but I think you're better off blowing it all up and changing. So and I get that. I think there's not a right or wrong answer there. There's opinion, so I think we'll know. But I do think we'll have clarity on everything come Monday.
Certainly on Peterson. General managers can be, you could.
Good point.
Theoretically, you could see that linger a little bit longer. I don't think my guess is they're both announced at the same time. And I think it'll be announced as bulky as a retirement and Peterson as a mutual parting of ways, or however they want to say it. But I think it will. I think we will know the answer by Monday morning, by I would say 10 a.m. at the latest. But I think in looking at it, Peterson's fate will absolutely be determined by Monday morning. You don't see,
and will be public by then.
Correct, and chances are it will be with Balky as well. But general manager firings are not on the same timeline as much as the head coach lines up with Black Monday. It can be, but it also can be that the owner waits a little bit longer before doing it. But my anticipation is that both Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson will not be Jaguars for much longer here. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. And I think it's an attractive job. I do think there's some talent here. I don't think it's a total rebuild. And I think it's if Shad goes and gets the right guy, which has obviously been a difficulty for him, but if he gets this one correct, I think they could be off and running and right back in contention for all the reasons we've talked about. Weak division. I think you got a good nucleus of talent, and you're going to have resources to upgrade that. Certainly, having even if it's a top 10 pick, that still should be a player that has a great chance to help you, and the high second round pick should have a great chance to help you next year. So, there have been times where I have known the Jaguars are 2 or 3 years away from contention. This is not one of those times. This with the right hires, they can absolutely be right back in the mix. And it goes back to the biggest variable is the EVP. Now Shad's not going to put that in his statement in terms of the Peterson Baalke statement, but that is the biggest variable is the organizational flow of the football side of the franchise going to drastically change from what it has been with Peterson and Baalke both reporting directly to Shad. That's a big factor in this as well.
We'll take a break. Let's talk some Georgia Bulldog football. They're an hour away from playing in the Sugar Bowl. We'll talk about the Dogs after this.
The Frangie Show
From the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Sideline to sideline.
That's a bad boy.
Goal line to goal line.
On best, here we go.
The best defense is a superior fence. Each week, Superior Fence and Rail presents the Defensive Player of the Game on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island is excited to announce an all-new happy hour. 7 days a week. You heard right. Every day from 3 until 6 p.m. and again from 9 until close. Barley and Pie has deals you can't resist. 2-for-1 clay lights, 2-for-1 house wines, and much more. Experience the all-new happy hour at Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
It's a new year at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine. Cash in this month with thrilling promotions and tournaments, including daily high hands and table games clockwork cash out, giving away $300 cash every 15 minutes and selected weekends at all 3 Best Bet locations. Catch all the excitement in 2025. See all the details and learn the games at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Start your week with a Hall of Fame breakfast.
Well, I'm hungry. How about you?
Join Dan Hicken, Jeff Prosser, and Jags Hall of Famer Tony Bazzelli for tons of football talk. Brought to you by Heritage Roofing of North Florida. Monday mornings at 7:20 on 1010XL.
Hi, Jags fans. Walker Little here for my friends at Kingfish Pest Control. Playing offensive line in the NFL, I must block and protect on every down. When it comes to keeping my home pest-free, I expect that same level of protection. So I contacted Kingfish after seeing thousands of positive online customer reviews about their service. I can confirm from personal experience, bugs don't stand a chance getting past Kingfish Pest Control. Do what I did. Reach out to Kingfish Pest Control to protect your home, a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hicken here for Bout 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bout 9. Visit Bout 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bout 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
New and pre-owned firearms are always in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimbar, Smith & Wesson, Sig Sauer, and Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Stop letting high-interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan uses an AI-driven tech to get you approved for cash in as little as one day. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt, launched a home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start to the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this time next week, you can be credit card debt-free. Call 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, MLS, consumeraccess.org.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. Tonight, the Duke Blue Devils will take on the Ole Miss Rebels in the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl here in Jacksonville. Duke's head coach Manny Diaz spoke on its explosive defense as well as previews Ole Miss and how they consistently play in attack mode.
Well, yeah, he mentioned our defense, and one of our hallmarks is creating negative plays, and so that's something we track year to year. Offensively, of course, I've always had a lot of respect for Lane, very creative. I think what we want to be defensively is what he is offensively, which is always in attack mode, always trying to get other teams out of their comfort zone, and I think that's one of the more difficult things about the game is when you have two teams that are trying to attack, who's really dictating the terms.
Gator Bowl tonight at 8 o'clock. You can hear the game live on 1010XL. It's 62 degrees at 3 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010 10XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
You kind of told it, JJ. Once you heard it, you know it, right?
Yeah, and I do know.
Yeah. This is one. Once you heard it, you know it. This is so good.
Absolutely.
The Authority song by John Mellencamp. Frangie and Carlyon in La Selva with you as we embark on the second hour of the program. We want to thank our friends from Stanley Pools every Thursday. And thank you, by the way, for adjusting with us. This will be our last Thursday that we're on 2 to 4. We'll be back on. Our buddies from Prime Time will be doing 2 to 4. The ladies from Helmets and Heels back to their normal time, 2 to noon to 2, 5 days a week. And we'll be back 4 to 6. So thank you for that. And we sure enjoyed it. And we're happy to certainly air Jaguar programming 4 to 6, which includes the Doug Peterson Show and Jaguar Happy Hour with J.P. Shadrick and Jeff Lagerman. And that comes up one last time today at 4 o'clock. Georgia Bulldog football. What do you think? What do you think about the Gunnar Stockton-led Dogs? We'll get to the winning and losing in a minute, but what do you expect today?
I think conservative, but I think effective. And that's sort of what Georgia has been, or I think ideally wants to be, is let's not make a bunch of mistakes. Let's not throw interceptions. Let's, just play within ourselves and let's lean on the trenches on both sides. And if we are able to do that, we'll probably like the result at the end of 60 minutes. So I think it's probably a fairly conservative game plan. But I expect Stockton to play well. I think Georgia's had plenty of time to get him ready. Obviously, he performed in a pinch in the SEC championship game, and I thought played winning football. So I think watch out for him as a running threat. We saw him with that great run in the SEC title game inside the 5. Showed a lot of toughness taking the contact that he took. So I think he could be a guy that converts a couple third downs that, could be deflating for the Irish. So I expect Georgia to, they're not going to light it up because that's not who they've been offensively, but I think they're going to be competent enough and I think efficient enough to have a good chance at winning this game.
We all joke about gritty gutty guys. He's gritty gutty. But Gunnar Stockton is gritty and gutty.
Yeah.
What they say about him is he doesn't have the overall skill set that Carson Beck does. If so, he would have been playing ahead of him. But he is a Georgia guy. He's from a small town in Georgia. He's very athletic. He's not afraid. And when Beck got hurt at halftime of that game against Texas, and Gunnar Stockton had to come in, that's a tough challenge to beat one of the best teams in America that you've already beaten, and you got to play the whole half, and he did it. And I do think this. They said this on the television broadcast, and I think there's truth to it, Hays. There was an energy when he came in. Now, sometimes that happens, but there was an energy to him when he came in. You could feel it. You could feel an energy on the sideline, and that's no knock on Carson, but I think that was very real. I think you could sense that. So
I agree. I would say in addition to energy, you felt, again, watching it on a TV screen, but as a viewer, I felt belief.
Yeah.
That Georgia did not feel like that with Beck out, they were in trouble.
I agree.
There was a belief that it felt like they had with Stockton.
Yeah. So Georgia Notre Dame, that is a fantastic game. I don't sense either team benefits from the move from last night to today. I don't think that's a factor. My guess is most of the fans will still be there. They said, well, some of the fans have to leave. Yeah, you're right, but nobody was leaving last night. Okay, the game was going to be over at midnight or 1 a.m., so nobody was leaving last night. So the people that the people that had flights had to change their flights. The people that had hotel rooms, the ones that checked out before the game yesterday had to check back in, right? So that doesn't mean there's not going to be some logistical stuff. But I don't sense there's a major effect on the football game today based on what time they had to play it. One other factor about that, though, that is very important. Notre Dame is good. Don't lose sight of the fact that Notre Dame is, of all the teams, Georgia got not an easy draw here. Notre Dame is a legitimately good, very good football team, And don't think for a minute that they're not. I think we've lost sight of that a little bit because Notre Dame has been they haven't been ordinary. That's the wrong word. That's not fair. But they've been good, not great for many years now. When they got into one of these games against Alabama or whoever, you expected them to get kind of rolled, and they have. So Notre Dame's been a really good team. Not really good. They've been a pretty darn good team until they tried to get to the mountaintop, and then they've fallen short. So is that a fair assessment? So you assume
absolutely.
You assume they won't be good enough to beat Georgia. And my point is this: I know they lost to Northern Illinois, but I think this is a pretty good Notre Dame team.
I would agree. And again, this is where the matchup is really striking in terms of quarterback experience, because obviously Stockton has barely played in college. Riley Leonard on the other side, you're talking about a guy that's attempted 944 passes in college, 41 career touchdowns, and as a rusher is nearing 2,000 yards in his career with 34 scores on the ground. So, somebody that obviously has seen it pretty much all at the collegiate level in Riley Leonard. Obviously, he played his first 3 years at Duke. This is his first year at Notre Dame. But, is that something, particularly if the game is close late, that matters? You would think, Leonard is probably going to handle that situation better, but, we'll see. Yeah, normally quarterback experience can mean an awful lot in these games. And Notre Dame has certainly a seasoned veteran with a guy that's almost thrown it 1,000 times in college and has 34 rushing touchdowns in his career. That's a lot of experience.
And I'll say this, by the way. One thing I certainly didn't know, and I'm guessing most people that didn't watch Duke football knew, what an athlete he is. Mm-hmm. What a good run. I mean, there's going to be an awful lot of RPOs or quarterback draws or scramble plays in those games today where the quarterback keeps it, it's pretty good. And I really believe that because they both can run it. Here's what I think is a major, major, major factor in the game today. Georgia is really battle-tested. I'll say this. I said this to Jeff Dantzler, and I'll say it again. If Georgia wins the whole thing, man, they've earned this one. If you look at they had to go to Texas, to Tennessee, to Ole Miss. I mean, the amount of games they had to play. I mean, they played Clemson. They played Alabama. They even caught Florida when Florida was starting to find itself a little bit. They have played really good football teams, and here they are. Notre Dame, they played at Texas A&M, who's pretty good. I'm not sure A&M was as good then as they got a little bit later on. But after that, Notre Dame scheduled the last game of the year they played at USC, who's ordinary, and USC hung around with them. The best teams they played Louisville, and it was a really close game. They won by 7. They played Navy and blew them out. Obviously, they blew out Florida State. They played Army.
I think they have a common opponent in Georgia Tech, but Haynes King did not play against Notre Dame.
Yeah. And
we all know that Haynes King is that team.
Yeah, no question.
He almost beat Georgia single-handedly, I feel like.
100% true. That's dead on. And Haynes King didn't play in the game, and that's the one common opponent. And obviously Notre Dame blew him out in large part because of that. Again, I think Notre Dame's got a good team, but they're not tested like Georgia's tested. I think that could be a real factor in the game.
You would think, but the SEC has been flimsy this year. So I don't know that yes, Georgia will be the best defensive front that Riley Leonard has seen this year by far. But that hasn't translated like it normally does. And and again, the SEC's bowl record is sort of what it always is. They're sort of always a 7-5 conference because a lot of times their 7th is matching up against the other conference's 1 or 2. But again, in looking at it, I don't know that the SEC was as strong. I say that it wasn't. I mean, it's not that I think it wasn't as strong as it normally is. So I do think Georgia is the best test that Notre Dame's offense has faced. But I don't know that it's the usual SEC juggernaut that has happened to Notre Dame in the past when they run up against the Saban dynasty and they get shut out.
Yeah, and I would agree with that, but I will tell you, Clemson in a neutral site at Kentucky, who was decent then, 13-12 win. They faded afterwards. At Alabama, at Texas, at Ole Miss.
Oh, there's no doubt that.
Yeah,
I mean
I said at Tennessee, I was wrong, but they're home against Tennessee. But
they were at Alabama,
yeah, right?
Yeah, and
Georgia Tech, 2 games against Texas. I mean,
the other thing too is you got to kill Georgia, and they've just been so resistant to that. I mean, most teams would have lost the Georgia Tech game,
right?
That took a special gut check on a championship level from the Georgia Bulldogs.
You got to cut the head off the snake.
And the same thing,
exactly right,
against Texas. So I mean, it's. That's why I think Georgia wins, because I just think until they see somebody that is light years better than them, which could be Ohio State, offensively with what they can do, and obviously Texas would the third meeting would probably be a very competitive game. I don't think Penn State can beat Georgia, but in looking at it, that's the thing is if Georgia needs a play late. They have all this experience lately knowing they can do that, and that is gigantic in a game like this.
Yeah, no question about it.
And you've just recently won 2 national titles. They're not the defending champ, but it's not like there's any pressure on that sideline to win the whole thing. It's immense on Notre Dame's side. I mean, they're looking for their first national title since 88.
Yeah. So I'll tell you this, it's going to be a fun game to watch. No question about that. Meanwhile, UNF and Austin Peay, they started playing the second half. Austin Peay making a little bit of a run now. UNF was up big earlier. It was 42-26 at one point. It's now 52-47, and Austin Peay has cut it to 5, and they're going to the line to complete a 3-point play, which could cut this to 4 if indeed they make this. So we'll continue to update you first. ASUN game of the year for the Ospreys. We'll update you on the score as we go. Also, JU plays its first ASUN game of the year tonight against Lipscomb, so we'll keep you posted. We've got headlines on the other side. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
I'm Jaguars Today's middle linebacker, Tom McManus, and I give you a window into what it's like on the field wearing black and teal. Catch my stories and analysis thanks to Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors every Friday morning at 10 a.m. on 1010 XL.
Hey there, sports fans. It's Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. You have 6 huge college bowl games prior to the weekend, and then more NFL bangers Saturday and Sunday. Let's talk motivation as the Browns travel to play the Ravens on Saturday. Baltimore is favored by 17.5. The Ravens win the AFC North with a victory, but a loss and a Steelers win against Cincinnati would drop them to the 5 or 6 seed. The Ravens should go all out against the Browns, and it's parlay time. The spread is huge but doable, as is the over on the 42-point game total. Book it. Sunday Night Football. This game will determine who wins the NFC North and the 1 seed in the conference. The Vikings are a 2.5-point underdog at Detroit. I like the Lions on that one. Sign up now at MyBookie and still get a 50% deposit bonus. That's half your money back on your very first deposit up to $1,000. Your promo code is 1010XL, so make yourself some cash with MyBookie, and don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles Update. With Showtime being proud sponsors of the Jacksonville Icemen, the store always has hockey hobby boxes. Options like Ingrained, Premier, Synergy, Credentials, and SPX. Hockey boxes at Showtime. Sports cards and collectibles. Update your collection.
You've probably heard the saying, it's not how hard you get hit, it's whether or not you get back up. Well, I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and I have a saying of my own. If you get hit with a personal injury or wrongful death, hit back and fight to make them pay. At Hastings Injury Law, we have the experience you want if you or a loved one suffer a car or trucking accident or wrongful death. Just call 904-HIT-BACK and we'll help you get up and hit back. Office is Jacksonville.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Start your Saturday with a whiff of the great outdoors.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Loggeman, and we bring you the fresh air of the great outdoors.
On the Nimnit Outdoors Show, presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
To get this thing unwrapped here.
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, man. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Daily Stash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, like me. I'm sure there's a Daily Stash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course.
Oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it," and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Daily Stash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Daily Stash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
An ACL tear can be a devastating injury with prolonged pain and rehabilitation. Hi, I'm Dr. George Bari. I'm a sports medicine orthopedic surgeon who grew up right here in Jacksonville and then went on to train with the world-renowned Dr. James Andrews. At Bari Orthopedics, we use the most current techniques to get you back in the field with less pain and quicker rehabilitation. We treat all types of sports injuries with the newest techniques available. Please call us for consultation or visit BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
AC replacement? If your AC unit is ready to go kaput, then it's time to call Florida Home AC. With over $3,000 in tax credits waiting for you on select systems, take advantage of it. Call 777-4300. Get Florida Home AC to cool you off.
If golf is your thing, you'll want to check out the 2025 Hills Pass at Hidden Hills Golf Club. Unlimited golf, including golf car, and preferred tee times for just one low price. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com to purchase your Hills Pass today.
Making a difference in our community for 2025, Paul Martinez here, President and CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida. The Boys and Girls Clubs offers a safe environment to youth every day with homework assistance, a hot meal, career readiness, and character and leadership programs. 57% of club alumni say the Boys and Girls Club saved their lives. Help us grow our outreach as we serve the kids in our community throughout our 59 clubs. Go to bgcnf.org to donate and learn more.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, it's the new year, and I guess you guys deserve some good headlines. Welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is here.
Dang it, I deserve them. Promise out. The rest of them.
JJ LaSelva is here. I'm Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Give them a call at 251-1111. You will be in great hands. I hope you don't need them, but if you do, if you get injured, that is who you need to put your trust into. All right, Frank, it has been a disappointing year here in Jacksonville, but the Jaguars were not shut out of the Pro Bowl like a few teams were. The Jaguars have two Pro Bowlers, punter Logan Cook and long snapper Ross Matizik.
I'll say this. I think Logan Cook is the best punter, one of the best punters in the league, if not the best. And Matisic's a good deep snap guy. There's no question. So I would like to see Brian Thomas Jr. in the game. And the other two alternates are Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker, both very deserving as well. But that's five good football players. Congratulations to Ross and Logan. They're in right out of the gate.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Brian Thomas Jr. He is a first alternate, so he will likely make it as well. His receivers pull out. Zay Flowers, obviously, with the Ravens being in the playoffs, they could make a push. And then Jamar Chase, Jerry Jeudy, we'll just see if from a health standpoint, not that there's a football game anyway, but still a lot of time these guys still don't want to participate. So we'll see. Hopefully Brian Thomas Jr. able to make it as an alternate. Again, ranks 5th in the NFL in receiving yards with 1,179 and is tied for 5th in touchdown catches with 10. Just a astonishingly successful rookie year.
Totally agree with that. I can't wait to watch him play Sunday, and then I'm bummed out that I don't get to watch him play again until September. I mean, that's how much I enjoy watching number 7.
I feel like I probably will be tweeting Sunday afternoon saying I'm bummed that I now have to wait 9 months for Brian Thomas Jr. to catch a football in a regular season game again, because he really has been so much fun to watch. I mean,
in so many ways. High pointing balls, running reverses, getting that little shovel pass on the jet sweep,
dusting guys off the line with his release.
Yes,
I mean,
he's really good.
He is going to be a lot of fun to watch for many years here. Hopefully, the Ravens led the way with 9 Pro Bowlers, including Yulee phenom Derrick Henry. What a year!
Yeah, you know what? Guess he's over the hill, huh? We've been hearing that.
Guess he can't play running back, right? In college or the NFL.
We've been hearing for 4 years negative things about that guy. He is absolutely fantastic. You know what? I say it again. I spent a lot of years having to root against him because he was stiff arming our guys into oblivion. He doesn't play against the Jags as much anymore now. He's with the Ravens. I can't help but root for the guy. Every time he gets the ball, he's a Jacksonville area guy. He's a good kid. He's a good kid. He's in his 30s now. He's a good young guy, and it's hard not to root for Derrick Henry. I really mean that.
I'd love to see him get a ring. It would be spectacular. So we'll see if Baltimore can get it done. It's obviously a loaded conference, as evidenced by the AFC quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, not a Pro Bowler. Did you ever think you'd see that happen in your life? Now, the other 3 are very deserving. Josh Allen's the starter. Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow are the other 2.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes, not a Pro Bowler. That's when you know you've got something cooking in your conference.
Boy, that's right. And I didn't think I'd see it. But you know what? All the other 3 guys have all been in the MVP conversation. If you got 3 guys that have been in the MVP conversation, they're probably your 3.
I mean, that's probably 1, 2, and 3. I mean, maybe Saquon will crack it, but I mean, that's.
So it's when you have 3 guys in that conversation, it's probably hard to beat them out.
As we look to Sunday's finale, the Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson not practicing today with the back injury. So again, there's still some time left, but if he's not practicing on Thursday, didn't play last week, and he's such a young player and he's had such a issue with durability, I would think it's trending that Joe Flacco will probably see the Jaguars Sunday.
2 thoughts. Number 1, I would think the Jags are going to play Flacco. Yes. Number 2, at some point you have to wonder if Anthony Richardson's going to be durable enough to play in the NFL. I mean, again, there's enough of a history now. His years in college, the 1 year he played, and then the 2 years here. You got to wonder if he's ever going to be a guy that can go play 17 games.
I was stunned when I looked at his numbers today. Anthony Richardson's completion percentage, by the way, grab a barf bag if you can, 47.7%. He's under 48% completion percentage.
Right.
8 touchdown passes, 12 interceptions for a passer rating of 61.6. This is how atrocious that number is. Joe Flacco, who has been a massive disappointment in Indianapolis, his passer rating is 91.6. Anthony Richardson is 30 points below Joe Flacco as a passer on passer rating. Now, yes, he gives you the rushing, but you can keep the 500 yards on the ground and the 5.8 yards per carry and the 6 touchdowns. If you can't complete 48% of your passes in this league, then shame on the franchise if they keep putting you out there.
And not only he's 47% this year, his career number is 50. So it's not like he's having a bad year. It's more like that's who he is. And again, there was always questions questions about the accuracy, questions about the durability. And I don't think the 2024 season has done anything to change any of that.
Without a doubt. Let's get it to Philadelphia, where the Eagles are electing to have Saquon Barkley sit and rest and not go after Eric Dickerson's single-season rushing record of 2,105 yards. Saquon needs 104. But I think the Eagles are doing the right thing. Obviously, the Super Bowl is in their sights. They don't have anything to play for. But Eric Dickerson, the record is safe. Do you like it, or should he be playing and going after the record?
I would play him. that's not just another record. That's one of the most meaningful records in sports. It took forever for O.J. Simpson to do it. It took forever for Eric Dickerson to break it. I would play him with a chance to. That's one of the good records. That record affects your trip to Kent. That record affects whether they build statues. I would play him. I'm not aghast that they're not, but I'd play him. Look, I don't want my guy getting hurt either, but I'd play him.
Yeah, and what's interesting is the Eagles can't get a bye. We know the Lions-Vikings winner is going to get that, so they will have to play next week. Definitely a tough call there. It would have been fun, certainly, to see him go after it because I think playing the Giants at home, he'd have had a good opportunity for it. But
he'd get the 100, barring injury, and then the potential of injury is why he's not playing. But barring injury, he'd get the 100 yards.
You would certainly think.
And again, that's one of the great records in sports history, in my opinion. And I think it's a shame he doesn't get a chance to break it.
Aaron Rodgers says he has accepted that Sunday might be his last NFL game. I kind of think it is. We saw him up close and personal here in a Jets win, and he played well in that second half. The release is still pristine. He has that, but he can't move anymore, and that was such a big element of his game. There are a lot of teams that are desperate for a quarterback that are not going to get Sanders or Ward in the draft. But do you think this is it for Aaron Rodgers?
I think he's going to play one more year. I know he said it might be his last year. I think he's going to play one more year. I don't know. Tom Brady played and then quit, but Tom Brady went out on top. I think he's playing another. That's a gut. I think he's playing another year.
Let's get to college football. The Sugar Bowl begins in a half hour. Frank, who wins? Georgia, Notre Dame?
Georgia. But I don't think it's going to be easy. I think Notre Dame's got a good team. They've got a veteran quarterback. Georgia's having to play a quarterback who hadn't played very much. I still think I picked Georgia, despite all of it, to win it all because they've got more good players, Hays, than anybody else. Ohio State beat Oregon because they have more good players than just about anybody else. Penn State's still playing because they've got more good players than the two teams they played. Texas and Arizona State was a wonderful game, and Kenny Dillingham's done a wonderful job. But Texas is still playing because they've got more good players. The true blue bloods generally have more good football players, more future NFL guys. Now, Notre Dame's a blue blood too, but I think Georgia's got more good players and they're going to win the game. What do you think?
I like Georgia. Yeah. I like Georgia. Close, but I like Georgia in a fairly low-scoring game. Texas, you mentioned the Longhorns. They hold off pesky Arizona State 39-31 in double overtime. Were you more impressed with Texas's win or how Arizona State competed?
Arizona State. And that's no knock on Texas, but I said this earlier in the program. The job Kenny Dillingham did, when you start listing, again, Jaden Daniels, Johnny Wilson, Ricky Pearsall, Elijah Badger, that's just guys around here. Who knows how many other players of significance they lost? And before long, he made a really good quarterback out of this redshirt freshman, Sam Levitt. The whole country now knows Cam Scadaboo's name. I think he's done a fantastic job with that program, and I think he's in really good shape moving forward. I was overwhelmingly impressed by Arizona State and what Kenny Dillingham has built.
Ohio State gets revenge on Oregon 41-21 as receiver Jeremiah Smith shines. The freshman had 187 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns, with most of that damage occurring in the first quarter. He now has 4 touchdown catches in Ohio State's 2 playoff games.
Yeah, I'm not surprised they won. I think they have a better team than Oregon. I thought that before the game. So did the odds makers. That's why they made him a favorite. I'm surprised they rolled him the way they did. And I'll say this, Will Howard, watching him at Kansas State, he was just okay. All right, maybe a little better than okay. But he's been really good for Ohio State. Give him credit.
Penn State will face the winner of Georgia Notre Dame. They moved on to the semifinals after taking down Boise State 31-14 on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, Penn State's really physical, really good defensively. There's a toughness to them. I got a hunch they will be the weakest of the 4 teams moving on, regardless of who wins tonight. Now, they're right there with them, but I would say if we wound up doing a power poll of the 4 remaining teams after tonight, I would imagine they're going to come in 4th. But hey, good for them. They're in the Final Four. That's pretty good stuff.
Without a doubt. And the Gator Bowl is tonight. Kickoff move back to 8:05. Ole Miss against Duke. A wonderful opportunity to get out there and see a football game if you're looking for something to do with the kids tonight. But Frank, what kind of game do you think we'll see? Duke obviously is a heavy underdog. Can they keep it close?
Yeah, no. Ole Miss has their players, and Duke lost their quarterback who opted out. And Ole Miss probably was better anyway. Duke had a good season. Manny Diaz is a good coach. But I'd be surprised if Ole Miss doesn't win this one 31-19, 31-20, something like that.
That actually, I think, would be a pretty good performance for Duke. They cover.
17-point favorite.
Yeah. I think Ole Miss is going to score a bunch tonight, but we'll see. It should be a fun game. And again, it's a wonderful event. If you're looking for something to do, is the holiday season kind of starts to wrap up on us. School will be back next week.
And you'll hear it on the radio station. That game we'll have the touchdown radio broadcast right here on the station.
Without a doubt, Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe just announced his intentions for next season. He is declared for the NFL draft. Frank, what kind of draft stock do you think Jalen Milroe will have?
I think he's a third-round guy. I think he's probably a late second, early third day guy. But I'm not surprised he's out. I don't think there's much more Jalen Milroe can do in college. We know who he is. Everyone knows who he's a good guy. He's deeply spiritual. He's a very good athlete. Hays, I don't know that I don't ultimately see some Taysom Hill in him. I don't know that he's a really good runner. He's built like a running back. I don't know that you don't see, Taysom Hill came into the league as a quarterback, but everybody knew he's the better runner. I don't know that I don't see some Taysom Hill in there. Would not surprise me if he winds up in the NFL level becoming sort of a multi-purpose guy. Backup quarterback, come in and run some RPO, come in and run some Wildcat. It wouldn't surprise me if that's what happened.
Let's get it to college basketball. UNF now in a dogfight over there, Frank, against Austin Peay. What's going on? Is the Ospreys, or are they up 62-60? Where are we in the game here?
They're up 62-60 midway through the second half. They led 42-26. They were blowing them out in the first half, but Austin Peay has rallied and pushed back. They haven't caught them yet, but they've made it. They're at the foul line now with a chance to tie the game. UNF leads Austin Peay 62-60, 10:36 to play in the ballgame.
Wow, and we will have another ASUN game in town tonight. JU is in action at 7 o'clock against Lipscomb. Big test for the Dolphins right out of the gate in conference play.
Yeah, Lipscomb, the team predicted to win the ASUN. Interesting note for that game, by the way. Giassi Powell, former Bishop Snyder player and a very good guard at JU the last 2-3 years, transferred to Lipscomb in the portal. Vince Martin, who was an assistant coach at JU, is now an assistant coach at Lipscomb. Giassi was a good player, but wanted to finish his career at Lipscomb, not at JU. So a guy that was played for JU for 3 years plays against the Dolphins tonight. So he'll know his way around Swisher Gym for sure.
Wow, that's a great nugget. We will get you out on our musical note of the day, because on this date, back in 2005, this song can't be 20 years old, can it? Green Day's 7th album, American Idiot, reaches #1 on the Billboard charts. The album would sell 23 million copies. This is Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
It's a great song, and critics will tell you it's one of the great rock albums of all time.
Yeah.
It's clearly regarded as Green Day's greatest album. And I think when you start rating the great albums, Dark Side of the Moon and some of the great albums, Hotel California, the real music critics will put American Idiot in there with it. Think about that. That's pretty good company. So great choice. This is a great song too. Green Day is a really good band, by the way.
They are.
Again, I don't know the 90s bands the way I did the 70s bands and 80s bands, but it's a really, really good band.
Yeah, they
really
are.
Good. Back to wrap the program after this.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey. Here in North Florida, you know that when temperatures go up and your AC goes out, you need help now. Like right now. Like lickety-split. So why not call Lickety Split and get same-day emergency service for your AC? Now, I bet you've seen their trucks all over town because they've got dozens of certified technicians ready to repair not only your AC, but your home's plumbing and electrical, too. So when you want it done right and you need it done right now, call Lickety Split AC Plumbing and Electric.
Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island is excited to announce an all-new happy hour, 7 days a week. You heard right. Every day from 3 until 6 p.m. and again from 9 until close. Barley and Pie has deals you can't resist. 2-for-1 clay lights, 2-for-1 house wines, and much more. Experience the all-new happy hour at Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island.
When you head out for a night with friends or going to the big game, don't forget the best game plan to win the night is to designate a driver and guarantee a safe ride home. Hydrating between buds is the best play you can make. Bud Light, reminding all to drink wiser.
Kick off the new year with a new look for your home. It's the Renewal by Andersen New Year's sales event. For a limited time, save 20% on their energy-efficient windows and patio doors, designed to keep your home comfortable all year. Plus 0 down, no payments, and 0% interest for 12 months. Offer expires January 31st. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. Find your holiday season stride with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start. And check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a 50% bump on your first deposit. For a limited time, MyBookie will add 50% to your initial deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Jaguars are a 5-point underdog at the Colts. The over-under is 43.5 points. Cincinnati is a 2-point favorite at Pittsburgh. The Lions are a 3-point home favorite over the Vikings. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a 50% bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Get more Gators with Dan Hickett and me, Frank Frangie, on all things Gators on 1010XL Gators Podcast, with new episodes every Monday, brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, wherever you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but incredibly functional for me and Bo Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com. And be sure to check out their end-of-year sale, including 18-month special financing. Closets by Design.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
PRP treatment is kind of the thing these days, and in many cases, it eliminates the need for surgery. This is Sheridan Tootin, and my experience with PRP from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has been nothing short of great. I'm really feeling much better now. Ask your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist doctor about PRP treatment.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
Now, the Florida Gator Report on 1010XL, brought to you by San Jose Collision.
The Gators women's basketball team is set to tip off against the 19th ranked Alabama Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa tonight to begin SEC play. The Gators look to play spoiler as they are coming off dominant back-to-back wins as they defeated Alabama State 88-31 on Sunday. Tip-off against the Tide is slated for 7 p.m. And the 6th ranked men's team tips off against Kentucky Saturday at 11.
Hicken here with a message from Zero Res. Did you have people over for the holidays? Kids everywhere, dirt everywhere, all over the carpets, the rugs, the sofas, and chairs. Did the kitchen tile take a beating? Sounds like it's time to call my guys over at Zero Res. The Zero Res techs will get the house looking great again. Folks, if you need help cleaning up after the holiday, give Zero Res a call. Right now, 25% off carpet cleaning, 25% off upholstery cleaning. Zero Res. Spell it forwards. Zero Res. Spell it backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Tailgate special alert. 3 pounds of marinated chicken, 2 pounds of marinated steak tips, 2 pounds of fresh ground beef, and 2 pounds of homemade sausage for only $80 to feed your crew.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
This is Dr. Turner Vossler, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Josh Hines Allen has a chance to become the second Jaguar since Calais Campbell to have back-to-back seasons with 10 or more sacks. Here's what Hines Allen thinks of that feat if he can approach it against the Colts on Sunday.
Yeah, those are cool. I know we've been asked, how does it feel about myself breaking the record? At the end of the day, winning and being part of that winning, being the reason why, how did the Jags win? And, because Josh did this. I'd rather have him say that than having 4 sacks and then losing. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I want to be happy with my team. I want to celebrate it. But we got to stop the run.
Hines Allen clearly puts winning above all other personal accolades and hopes they can get the job done this Sunday. I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jags cool since 1987.
All right, where have we been on the program today? We've talked Jags and Colts, the importance of the game, what may happen after the game. We certainly gave you our thoughts on that. A very important game for Mac Jones. We made that point as Mac's got a 1-year contract. He certainly wants to continue to play in the league, be a backup. I think he'll be able to, but he's played better of late, and that's a very important game for him, no question about it. We talked about the college football playoff. Georgia gets set in about 15 minutes to play their playoff game, quarterfinal game against Notre Dame. We talked all about that, and we certainly did a great job or did a job talking about the great play of Arizona State and some of these teams coming up or that were in the college football playoff. A lot of football talk today on the program. By the way, a barn burner going on over at the UNF Arena. UNF leads Austin Peay 71-70, but Austin Peay is at the line shooting 2 with a chance to take the lead. They make the first one. So I don't think Austin Peay, since I started watching, hasn't led the game. UNF led by big. Yeah. They were up 42-26 in the first half, but Austin Peay has made a real run on them. So it's 71 all with 6:56 to play in the game. So a good one to start playing the Atlantic Sun. Austin Peay versus UNF. So we'll certainly keep you up to date on that.
Austin Peay comes into this game 5-8. UNF 7-6 with, like you mentioned, a couple really impressive non-conference wins against South Carolina and Georgia Tech on the road. So this is one you'd like to get for sure.
Yeah, back and forth they go. Now UNF is just taking a 1-point lead. I think the last 6 minutes are going to be about like that. It's one of those games that the last 5 minutes of the game you never quite know. So we'll update you at least until we go off the air. Do want to remind you, Jaguar programming coming up in just a bit. Georgia and Notre Dame coming up. We both think Georgia's going to win that game. What a Final Four it would be then, wouldn't it? Penn State, Ohio State, Texas, and Georgia all in the same.
Yeah.
And it would be Georgia, Penn State playing each other, Texas playing Ohio State, which, by the way, if you were just reseeding, Georgia would be the 1, Penn State the 4, so that's how they'd play anyway, right? And
Ohio State might have to be the 1 after what we've seen.
And they could.
But yeah, and the thing is, in looking at it, what I like is this could be the 4 in pretty much any era of college football.
That's a great point. Almost any era of college. These are blue. And that's the case no matter who wins tonight or today, because the other 3 qualify, and so you're exactly right about that. So anyway, it'll be fun watching tonight. I'm certainly looking forward to that. Jaguar football coming up on the weekend. Florida, Kentucky. They play at 6 a.m. In Lexington.
The Bloody Mary Bowl.
But I will tell you.
What is the reason behind the 11 a.m.?
I guess
TV
it's
purposes?
TV. I think they're trying to do a bunch of TV games.
It's like a marathon day
Of
of
basketball.
college basketball.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like to get things started.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're talking about
play.
2 top 10 teams in the country playing it. I mean, I think for Florida, it's an advantage.
It is.
But for Kentucky, I'd be miffed about it, having to play an 11 o'clock home game against I think Kentucky really doesn't have a rival in the SEC.
Right,
They've been just so much more dominant. But if they have one, it's probably Florida.
Yeah, and I'll say this. One of the reasons this will work is Rupp Arena, it doesn't matter what time they could play at midnight, they'll pack it. So it's not like you have to worry about a late arriving crowd. This is Kentucky basketball fans. They will be there.
Yeah, right now in the net rankings, Florida is 4th in the country. Kentucky must have lost recently. Where is Kentucky? Wow, Kentucky is 18th.
They just lost to Ohio State.
Oh, okay. All right. They're 11-2, but boy, they
got killed.
Okay.
20-point loss to Ohio State.
Interesting. All right. So Kentucky, I had not seen that. So Kentucky has dipped a little bit, but still 18th in the metric that the committee leans on. Florida 4th in the country. Wow.
Yeah. Now I will tell you, and I've been saying this all along, Gator fans who haven't followed it closely, this 13-0 sounds good and feels good and is good and all, but don't kid yourself. They're about to begin playing a brutally hard conference. The first 3 games are Kentucky, Tennessee's Auburn, a third game, and Arkansas. The first 3 games, I mean, it is a brutally, brutally difficult conference. And so,
to your point, Florida only has 1 quad 1 game that they've played. They obviously won it, so they're 1-0 in quad 1 games. Kentucky has played 4. They're 2-2 in quad 1 games. So Kentucky way more battle tested, as you would expect, because Kentucky routinely plays the best in the sport. Every season. But yeah, Kentucky 4 quad 1 games under its belt already. Florida just with 1.
Yeah, Kentucky. Here's what I'll tell you: Florida is 13-0. What do you think they go? There's 18 games. What are they going in the SEC in your opinion?
11-7.
That's about right. That's about the. I think that, and I think 12-6 is the ceiling, and I think 9-9 or 10-8 is the floor, but probably around 10 or 11 wins. I think you're dead on, and I'm glad you said that, because people are going to think, well, they're 13-0, so they'll go 15-3, and
no chance.
I don't think Tennessee's going 15-3.
Right.
I don't think Auburn's going 15-3. I think the league is that, even the middle of the league, I think the league is that good.
There's no easy ones.
No, there really aren't.
I mean, it's really amazing how the conference. Again, if you're the worst team in this conference, you're gonna have some long nights and some miserably long losing skills.
I'd take 11-7 right now and get to the tournament.
I would too.
If you told me right now.
So you're 24-7. I mean, you're probably a 4 or 5 seed.
Exactly. I'll take it right now. I take it right and battle tested. That's the thing. Then
with having to do nothing in the conference tournament.
Yeah, that's right. So but it is that kind of year. The one thing, and I hope after, and maybe I'm just scarred because of so many times. I don't know, but Florida always gets key guys hurt.
Yeah.
So I mean the Keontae Johnson thing ever since then, and last
going all the way back to Egbunu.
Yeah, right. Egbunu getting hurt, and last year was Handlogton, and before that it was Castleton, and they've had so many good players hurt at crucial times. It
would be nice to have a year of healthy basketball.
Wouldn't it be fun?
Yeah.
It would.
So your next 2 opponents, Arkansas and Tennessee, play each other in the game immediately after you guys on ESPN. Part of that long full day of basketball.
Oh, all right. How about that?
So that'll be a good one too.
Yeah, Tennessee 2nd in the net. Arkansas is currently. I'm not seeing Arkansas. They're 41st, but they're 11-2. But Cal probably scheduled a little softer than he normally would have.
And Alabama and Auburn are both really good, too. I mean, they're two very, very good teams. Meanwhile, Austin Peay has taken a 4-point lead over the Ospreys. Come on, UNF.
Come on, Ospreys.
But you got 4 minutes. You got plenty of time left, 4 minutes and 30 seconds. That'll do it for our program. Jaguar programming coming up right now. Jaguars Happy Hour, JP Shadrick and Jeff Logman, and that'll include the Doug Peterson Show. The coach will be on with them as well. And then he'll join us tomorrow on our Friday as he normally does. We're out of here. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.